Aloha everyone, Michelle Melendez with Blossom Inner Wellness and StandTogetherHawaii.com, and I want to do a video on the patents for this crazy wind, possible patents for wind, and also patents for the fog that has been not only around many parts of the United States but the world. And also I want to show you guys a little bit about the U.S. has had a history of experimenting on its own people, numerous experiments, and also who the big pharma people are, where they came from. So not going to go into too much about the big pH, but I do want to show you guys some things here. And here we go. I want to start with the wind energy final report. This is, scroll up here, the influence of wind energy patents funded by the U.S. Department of Energy's Wind Energy Technologies Office and the Department of Energy Office. So this is important because I'm going to show you the number of patents they have for the wind. And remember the Santa Ana winds? Santa Ana winds are supposed to happen mostly, what I research is in the fall, not in the middle of winter, and the winds that's going in all different directions and whatnot. But anyway, let me just show you what this is. The main this report describes results and analysis of tracing the technology influence of wind energy research funded by the United States Department of Energy, the Wind Energy Technologies Office, the Department of Energy, the European Patent Office, and the World Intellectual Property Organization. World Intellectual Property Organization. So I'm going to do a quick stop screen and get over to page 10 so you don't have to watch me scroll down because I know that sometimes people get dizzy from that. So let me just find it here. It's right here. So let me do another screen share and show you guys what this is. So this is the number of the number of, what is this word again? It's WETO, Energy Technology Office, not World Technology, Wind. Wind Energy Technology Office has 98 patents for wind energy patents, wind energy patents. So the Wind Energy Technology Office has 98 patents for wind energy. The US has 114 wind energy technology patents. The European office has 36 wind electronic wind energy technology office. Sorry, you guys, wind energy technology office. And the World Intellectual Property Office has 24 wind and energy technology patents. So these are patents, and so these are just patents for wind. So I don't know what is being used, but I just know that these patents are real and they are here. They're being used. And what does who owns the WIPO, which is World Intellectual Property Office, the World Intellectual Property Organization, is not owned by any individual. It is special agency of the United Nations. Of the United Nations. Now, the United Nations has those 16 goals. You remember the 16 goals were prevent poverty, and these goals have flowery language that people want, but preventing poverty could mean that they control how you farm because they're going to prevent poverty. So they could also ration your foods. So your family doesn't eat so much because we're preventing poverty. So there's a lot of control around these United Nation agendas, United Nation goals. And I want to do another screen share because I want to show you guys that here is what I want to go into now is actually the mysterious fog. So the mysterious fog that's not only over the United States, but also over many parts of the world. And this is a little clip from this. Oh, sorry. Let me do a sound share sound, and then also I want to show you guys um, the fact that the U.S. is not innocent in experimenting on its own people. So we'll show you that next.
Weird fog that's been appearing all around the world.
This fog is
This fog isn't right, man. This fog is very strange.
I even made an update last week telling you that Tampa Bay released a statement telling people not to breathe in the shit. That really happened. And then there was these particles in it, like P2.5, that's the size of a particle. That's the reason that you could see the fog. And then some people have been noticing the fog leaving a strange white film on windshields and windows. Look at this.
The particles are still there between the water. And when you rub it, you can see, look, it's just this.
It's like some kind of powdery white substance left behind from the fog.
If that's normal rain to you, and you think that it's just mist, you seriously need to get your head tested.
People have been finding strange things in their yard, on their porch.
We had the mystery fog hit us a couple of days ago, and today we're walking around and we saw a bunch of these out in the yard. Does anybody have any idea what this is? Because it feels really light, like plastic, and it kind of looks like a geode, but it's lightweight. It's almost got like a waxy texture to it. It's got a really strong chemical smell, and they're everywhere.
So I'm just going on my walk here, and I'm seeing
gonna show
these.
you
What is
this.
that? This is coming out of our sky. It just rained, but it's literally all over the place. Look.
So I'm going to pause it there because I want to show you guys some patents. Here is a patent, process and apparatus for production of intense artificial cloud, fogs, or mist. This was in 1920. So this at this point could have been water, but now is that's 100 years ago. This patent was 100 years old. This is another patent for apparatus for production of artificial fog. This is 1943. So they're obviously keep working on this. Now, after 2014, we don't have a lot of patents for weather modification because they're not showing it to us. So I think we have to do a request to see this. I'm not sure, but these are the two patents for that. The other thing I want to show you guys is the nanotechnology in warfare, is a branch of the nanoscience in which molecular systems are designed and produced and create to fit a nanoscale. So this is a nanotechnology in warfare. So they have this ability. Nanotechnology units in a variety of scientific fields, including material science, chemistry, physics, biology, and engineering. And they have this technology. So I do want to let you guys know, let's see here. The historical use of nanotechnology in the area of warfare and defense has been rapid and expanding. Over the past 2 decades, numerous countries have funded military applications of this technology, including China, United Kingdom, Russia, and most notably the United States. The United States government has been considered a national leader of research and development in this area, however, now rivaled by international competition has international competition as appreciation of nanotechnology's immense increases. Therefore, the growth of this area in the use of its power has dominated platform in the front line of military interests. Interesting. So let me just show you guys a little bit about this. The U.S. dark history of how the U.S. experimented on its own people. So they have a history of this, you guys. We have a history of this in ever since the 1930s, and I think it goes back even before then. This was a 1930s experiment where they experimented on African American men for syphilis. They gave them syphilis, and despite a widespread of availability of penicillin as a syphilis treatment, the men were never provided with this option, and they had syphilis for 25 years. They did this experiment on these poor men, unbeknownst to them, and they basically lied and just experimented on them without their knowledge. Plutonium testing, this was in 1945, and this happened to this man named Eb Cade, and he was an African American man who got into a car accident and had broken bones. And this is so disgusting. This doctor, his name is Dr. Fidel, he actually thought, oh, this guy, even though he's not dying, because the subjects that they were supposed to experiment on were supposed to expected to die. This guy was a healthy man. He just had broken bones. And Dr. Fidel took it upon himself to communicate to the Los Alamos who was doing the experiment that this man, this innocent, healthy man, was suitable for a candidate for the plutonium experiment. And they were giving him this plutonium, and they didn't set his bones. They didn't set his bones. He had broken bones for, I think it was like a month. They also took out his teeth. He had they additionally 15 of his perfectly healthy teeth were extracted by doctors without providing an explanation. This guy finally kind of figured out he was being experimented on. An official document stated that he was discharged from the hospital. The reality is that one morning he was gone. He escaped. So this in his passing was in 1953. So the experiment was in 1945, and he died 8 years later. Um, really sad. And no autopsy was conducted, and it was really sad. This man was he was an innocent person. And then Operation Sea Spray, which a friend of mine talked about already on one of her channels. This is Serratia marcescens. This is a bacteria. A bacteria found in soil and water, is notable for its capacity to generate vivid red pigment. This distinctive characteristic renders this microorganism valuable in experiments, and is its visibility allows for easy tracking. Exploiting this trait, the U.S. military conducted a large-scale biowarfare test in the 1950s, harnessing the vibrant attributes of this bacteria. And basically what they did is from September 20th to September 27th in 1950, the U.S. Navy initiated the release of two bacterial strains from a ship located off the coast of San Francisco. And it was believed at the time that these bacteria pose no harm to humans, but let's check it out. Let's experiment on these innocent San Franciscans and see what happens. Monitoring the experiment installed across 43 locations throughout the city without the knowledge of these people led the Army to conclude that the San Francisco has been exposed to a significant dosage. In fact, the analysis indicated that nearly all the city's 800,000 residents were likely to have inhaled a minimum of 5,000 particles of this bacteria. Over the course of the next 2 decades, the military conducted similar tests in various cities across the United States. So the United States they're not innocent. They actually have been experimenting on us people for a very, very long time. Operation Do 1 and Do 2 in the 1950s. This was conducted in Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, and the experiment involved releasing 250 pounds of fluorescent particles from a minesweeper station off the coast. So they're releasing these particles and saying, "Hey, what's going to happen here? What's going on? What are we going to? What these people who are totally totally innocent." 2 trials disseminated clouds of zinc, cadmium, sulfide, covering expansive areas within all 3 states. The impact of these tests extended over an estimated 60,000 square miles in the populated coastal region of the southern eastern United States. The release during Operation Do 1 was executed. Okay, that's not important, but I'm just wanting to show you guys they experiment on us all the time without our knowledge. We're talking thousands, hundreds of thousands of us without our knowledge or being experimented on. Project MK Ultra 1953. This was a project from the experiment from the CIA, where they actually, I believe, released what is it called? It is called MK Ultra. It was called LSD. So they've done that project, and this is Operation Big Itch. This is probably being done in Maui right now. September 1954, Operation Big Itch was conducted by Dugway Proving Ground in Utah. The series of tests amid to assess the coverage patterns of the survivability of the tropical rat flea. They literally had a bomber which had thousands of these fleas, and they released them. So this is another experiment, Operation Big Buzz in 1955. And then Willowbrook hepatitis experiment in 1956. This is really sad because Willowbrook was a school that had become overwhelmed in its population exceeding 6,000 individuals, and these people were already struggling with diseases and not being taken care of. And then they decided to do hepatitis experiments on these people. So instead of helping them, they were like, hey, let's do this hepatitis experiment. Utilizing the dire circumstances prevailing at Widowbrook, Dr. Krugerman and Dr. Gillis capitalized on the institution's conditions to recruit new families for their hepatitis experiment. And what happened here, this is really interesting, you guys. Dr. Krugerman presented certain parents, including Nina Galen, with an enticing offer, the opportunity to bypass the waiting period because there was so much stuff, issues happening in Willowbrook. She wasn't getting the help she needed. So, hey, bypass all the issues here at Willowbrook, do this hepatitis experiment, and then you'll get the treatment that you need. And what does she say? She says, I felt coerced as if I was being denied assistance unless I accepted this opportunity. Does this sound familiar? Anybody? Anybody? Anybody at all? Another one, Operation LAC, in 1957. Operation LAC, also known as Large Area Coverage, was a secret military operation conducted by the United States Army Chemical Corps. Its objective was to release microscopic zinc, cadmium, and sulfur. Again, particles over extensive areas of the United States and Canada. Over extensive areas of the United States and Canada, that's hundreds of thousands of people not knowing they're being experimented on. The purpose of this operation was to study the dispersal patterns of geographic range of chemical and biological weapons on United States citizens and Canadians. Operation 112, 1960. Between 1962 and 1963, the Desert Test Center, operated by the Department of Defense in Fort Douglas, Utah, undertook a series of tests known as Project 112 and Project Shad. These tests focused on assessing the vulnerability of biological and chemical warfare capabilities. The experiment included various land-based and sea-based trials conducted at multiple locations. So yeah, this is you guys can just look this up. I'll put it in the description, this link, if you want to check it out. Oh, this was a great one, you guys. Bioagents in New York subway in 1966. These scientists thought it would be a good idea to go and take 170 grams of Bacillus subtilis bacteria, previously known as Bacillus GE, with approximately 87 trillion organisms. And they broke these organisms in a bulb, and they broke it in the New York subway. And it did their experiment. He says during peak hours, these bacteria were dropped, aiding that if you get trillions of bacteria into a light bulb and throw it on the track as trains pull into the station, they'll get pulled through the air as the train leaves. So people are disgusting. The measles vaccine, I'm not going to talk about that, for you guys know the reason, but some people were not given the vaccine, and some people were. It was really interesting. You guys can read that. And that's what I want to share about that. But I want to share, okay, who else? I just want to say, before I share that, who else did experiments? Let's think about that. World War II, the Nazis were very known to do experiments on people. Well, isn't this interesting? Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip was a secret United States intelligence program in which more than 1,600 German scientists, another word for that would be Nazi, engineers and technicians were taken from the former Nazi Germany to the U.S. government, employed after World War II. So these people who did experiments on their own people, as well as United States military, these scientists, they literally had so many war crimes, they should be in jail. They should be prosecuted for war crimes. So instead of taking these people to court and making them go through the system and having them be accountable for their war crimes of experimenting on people, the United States government thought it'd be a good idea to bring them to the US. And guess what they started? They started that word that starts with a PH, big PH, ma. So yeah, this is not me making this stuff up. This is not conspiracy theory. This is fact right here. And then the other thing I want to share, well, that's pretty much all I want to share. But I just found this really interesting, really, really interesting, that the White House on December 3rd, 2024, the White House, Biden and Harris canceled Christmas trips and rushed back amid speculations of an emergency. Okay, then they didn't say a reason for it. Harris had planned to be in LA until Monday, but her office provided no reason for the last-minute cancellation, leaving many to wonder if the political turmoil over the government's funding was the cause, as the deadline for potential government shutdowns looms on Friday. Harris's absence in the West Coast has fueled further uncertainty of the Biden's administration strategy in handling the budget impasse. The reason I'm sharing that is because then 3 weeks later, like, we don't know why. Why did they go? Why did they stop their vacation plans, their holiday plans? And then 3 weeks later, the fires happen in LA. It's called distraction. This fog, I think, is some type of an experiment. Another one. You know, they've been doing experiments on the United States American citizens, American living, not citizens, living men and women, and who live in America and also living men and women in Canada, as well as experimenting on other people. These people think they can just experiment on us and that they won't be held accountable. Well, it's going to be in this world or the next. That's what I'm saying. And then the other thing I wanted to share is, there's something's going on with this fog. We know that they have a history of experimenting on the people. They have a history of distraction, massive attacks on the people. You know, when I look back at what happened in New York on that one special day with the two things that went like that, what happened the day before was Rumsfeld said there were $23 trillion missing out of the US Treasury. So now what is going on? What is going on with all of this? The last thing I want to share around this is, and this part could be conspiracy theory, I don't know, but Diddy and all of his actions in Hollywood, all of that, all of the possible evidence of him doing the things he did to children, along with the other people who did them, who probably now will not be held accountable because all the evidence is burned up. I just thought about that. You know, everything's burning down, including any evidence of anything happening with our children. So I just wanted to say, so I just wanted to share this. And the truth is coming out. They can't keep it hidden. And you guys sharing this video, liking, subscribing, I really appreciate it. My subscribers are finally going up after a year. You know, I've written the book, Great Maui Land Grab, and when I was doing all the videos for that, I got like 2 subscribers in a year. And I was like, what is going on? But I just want to say much mahalo to everybody who supports this channel, who gives me a comment, who gives me a like, who gives me a share. I really appreciate it. And we're going to be okay. We just have to keep going. We have to, and I know it's exhausting. We're all tired of this. I miss the time when the world, when I was growing up, you know, I really miss that time without the cell phones and Facebook and all this. But then we wouldn't be coming together. Then we'd still be experimented on and not know it. So there is a positiveness around what we have, the technology that we have, and keep sharing the truth. Don't be afraid to speak your truth. Just do it with aloha, do it with kindness, because a lot of people don't get what's going on and they're afraid. And I get it. I was afraid too when I started waking up. But there's a time when you say, no, this is not okay. We do not consent. We don't consent to be experimented on without our approval, without our permission. We don't, you know, we don't consent. So let's do a quick prayer. Infinite intelligence. Wow, what a game we decided to come play together. It's okay to feel afraid and it's okay to feel angry. Those are normal human feelings. It's okay to feel anxious. It's a completely normal human feeling. And there's nothing right or wrong about this feeling. It's just a frequency in the body. And we fully accept it as that, a frequency. And right now, Great Spirit, there are so many innocent living men and women who have had their homes destroyed and their lives turned upside down. And Great Spirit, we just know that you are touching them with the light of hope, with knowing that they're not alone, that there are other people around the world, living men and women, who see them, that they are not forgotten, that we've got their back as much as we can, and we give the rest to you. We do our kuleana, what is ours to do, and we give the rest to you, Great Spirit. We trust you. We know that this is unfolding in a way where the world is becoming a better place. We choose that. We do not comply with the darkness and the evil and the experimenting on innocent people and the atrocities that happen to our keiki, to our children. We do not consent. And we say no, and we say yes to the light and love of truth, knowing that that is here. And we bind anyone who does not value human life, the rights of people to own property. We bind them right now with the beautiful light of love and of truth and of strength of that is legions and legions and legions of angels and you, Great Spirit, which is beyond any power we could possibly imagine. The truth is unfolding, and we get to watch as it does. And as those who do not value human life, who have harmed people, are being held accountable, peaceably removed from office, voluntarily stepping down, and the truth is unfolding every single day. We know it is done, Great Spirit. We call it forth now. And so it is. Sending you and your ohana so much aloha from the Big Island.